Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Trade, Industrialization and Tourism on the rise in the number of roadside hardware supplies in the residential areas in Nairobi City County, particularly in South B and South C estates. In the statement, the committee should: 1. Explain the reasons for the rapid increase of roadside selling of sand, ballast, and other hardware supplies along streets of residential areas in Nairobi, particularly in South B and South C estates. Elucidate on the measures of Nairobi City Council has taken, if any, to address this matter, following numerous complaints by residents of affected areas. Appraise the Senate on the identities of the owners of the roadside hardware businesses and the legal processes followed in issuing of licenses for the operation of such businesses, and undertake a visit to South B, South C, and other affected areas with a view of gaining a deeper understanding of the matter and recommending measures to curb the proliferations of these businesses. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Education regarding the rise in number of private schools operating in residential areas in Nairobi City County, particularly in South B and South C estates. In the statement, the committee should find out the reason of the increase in the number of private schools in residential areas in Nairobi City County, particularly South B and South C, where over 200 schools have been established as of October 2022. Examine the existence of legal provisions that allow residential buildings to be transformed into schools, noting that establishment of most of these schools does not adhere to the laid down education regulations and policies. Appraise the Senate on the identities of the owners of the said learning institutions, detailing the qualification of the teaching staff, mode of teaching and training offered, and the operating conditions. Justify the increase of adult learning centers that offer Kiswahili and English programs, detailing who the enrolled students are, noting that these are subjects regularly taught in all public schools countrywide. And undertake a visit to these residential areas with a view of gaining a deeper understanding of the issues raised. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Schranker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Senate's request for statement on rehabilitation and upgrading of Mombasa Road sections left in a state of disrepair following the construction of the Nairobi Expressway. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Roads, Transportation and Housing on the Kenya shillings 9 billion set aside for rehabilitation of sections of Mombasa Road left in a state of disrepair following the construction of Nairobi Expressway. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the statement, the committee should, 1, state why the cost of construction of the Nairobi Expressway that was initially projected to be Kenya shillings 65.2 billion, but later increased to 72.8 billion, as stated by Kenya National Highways Authority, KENHA, did not factor the costs for rehabilitation and improvement of sections of Mombasa Road left in a state of disrepair following the construction of the Nairobi Expressway. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, explain why the government has set aside 9 billion for repair and upgrading of Mombasa Road, yet the contractor for the Nairobi Expressway, China Road and Bridge Corporation is responsible for the damages on the said road and ought to take full responsibility for repairs. Mr. Speaker, number 3, state the contract cost variation for construction of the expressway, as well as the impending renovation of the sections of Mombasa Road destroyed during the construction of the expressway as captured in the contract, stating how they conform to the law and attendant regulations. Mr. Speaker, provide a comprehensive report on variations on Class A and B road construction in the country and total amounts involved in variation for the last financial years to the date of completion or per project in the Republic. Mr. Speaker, number 5, the committee should provide a clear timeline on commencement and completion of the intended renovation and rehabilitation of the damaged sections of Mombasa Road or Old Mombasa Road, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee should state the guidelines on the usage of the Nairobi Expressway, especially on emergency services, in order to prevent abuse of the emergency service privilege. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Senator Sifuna.